here to talk about the 2023 growing season. So we started with a fairly wet winter. Indeed, between December and March, we received a little over 40 inches, which is almost double the amount that we've received for the last 5 years. So it was a very needed and very well appreciated amount of rainfalls that we received. It filled up our reservoir, it filled up our soil profiles, so it was an amazing start for the season 2023. So this rainfall delayed our pruning. It also delayed the start of our cultivation practices. We usually start to go early, so then we remove potential competition for the vines. However, this year, due to the amount of rainfalls we got, we wanted to create some competition for the vines. So we left our cover crop a little longer in the field, and also we couldn't go in the field early enough, which was a challenge as we were getting close to a bud break time. Weeds were quite high, especially in our vineyards. The head height is pretty low to the ground, around 19 inches or so. So to prevent any frost impact, we have to mow early on, and this season was a little challenging to do that at the right time, but with some weed eaters and some lightweight equipment, we were able to mow and prevent any potential risk for our vineyards. Spring 2023 was fairly dry. We only received 1/4 inch of rain in April, and however, the temperatures were fairly cool, a little slightly cooler than the average, and so bud break was delayed, and on average, our bud break happened around April 12th, which is about 12 days later compared to our 5-year average, and 7 to 10 days later than last year. So pretty significant delay. And also the weather in the spring was fairly mild. Very nice to work outside, but the shoots had a slow growth. It's interesting to see the internodes on the shoots. They're fairly close to each other compared to some years when we have some heat spikes. The internodes are pretty long. So that's something we take into consideration for hedging later on in the season.
So I am here to talk to you guys and continue the conversation about our growing season. So you guys spoke with Natalie, and she told you a little bit about winter and spring, and I'm here to tell you a little bit more and give you the recap of summer moving into harvest. So really we had quite a mild summer for what we are used to here in the North Coast, and specifically in Napa Valley. Really kind of milder temperatures. Even though we reached and got to 100 degrees a handful of days, we really didn't see anything too far north of that, which is really kind of exceptional and different from what we're used to here. You know, that kind of meant we didn't have any heat waves, which kind of pushes and matures the grapes a lot faster sometimes than we're really ideally wanting. And so with this, you know, with these milder temperatures, of course, we saw a little bit of sprinkles, a little bit of rain in the summer, and because things were a little bit milder and cooler, we really were able to, you know, extend this growing season. Now, we started out the season a few weeks later than we had previously in 2022, but really at the end of it all, things really kind of ended up catching up a little more than we were thinking. With some of these cooler temperatures, of course, in some regions in the valley, we did see, you know, higher mildew pressure really than we've had probably in the last 10 years. So that was a little bit more of a challenging thing for some growers, mostly in Pinot and Chardonnay, some of our more prone varieties to powdery mildew. But here really in Oakville and further north up the valley into Pope Valley, we really didn't see that too much. Of course, Cabernet is not as susceptible anyways to powdery mildew, so we were kind of blessed with that as it was. You know, so then kind of moving through summer, continuing to see these cooler temperatures, it really kind of gave the grapes the extended hang time that we're really always looking for. And it was really kind of a dream to be able to have that. This really allows the flavors, the tannins, and the color to really develop with the grapes as they should. So allowing the vine to ripen slowly and ripen those grapes slowly is really an exceptional gift that we were given this year by Mother Nature. So it was really great moving into harvest. Now, starting out with harvest, we really were still about 2 weeks late, starting with Sauvignon Blanc in August, mid to late August, and then moving into September. But one difference we really saw was the delayed ripening for Chardonnay. Now, some growers don't have any Chardonnay, but down in the Carneros region, we really kind of did see that where, Chardonnay started to come in at the same time Cabernet was coming in for us, which is really rare, and we hardly ever see that. Typically, we're already done with white varieties, moving into our red varieties. So that definitely posed a challenge for a lot of wineries as far as tank space and capacity. And really, harvest is always a dance, but we were just dancing a little bit differently this year. Of course, so it was a little bit more heavy on the logistics and trying to organize a lot more communication than normal, but really kind of, harvesting Chardonnay into mid-October while we were already harvesting Cabernet as well. So Cabernet really lasted, I would say our majority and their bulk of our harvest for that was really October, moving into the first week of November. In November, some of us thought that we would still be harvesting into mid to late November, but really the grapes ripened and continued ripening as they should have. And really what we were able to do was, I would say most growers probably finished up after the first week of November. And so everything kind of caught up, which was really nice. So we didn't have to harvest into Thanksgiving, which all of us were a little bit afeared for. But really everything kind of caught up and continued ripening as it should. So far, I have heard nothing but a great feedback from a lot of the winemakers as far as quality this year. What we also saw was higher quantity than 2022 and 2021, of course, coming out of some drier years. We had lighter yields, but what we really saw this year was great yields, great exceptional quality, which we hardly ever see, for any harvest. And I can't think of one in the last 10 years where we've seen great quality and great quantity as well. So everything seemed to be, the vines balanced themselves out, ripened as they should, and really provided us with an exceptional harvest and vintage. So quite looking forward to tasting some of these 2023 wines this year. And as I'm sure all of you are as well, as they're all finishing up in the wineries. But so far, that's all I have for you for this harvest. We are winterized and ready for more rainfall for the winter. Thank you. Cheers.